Hello! We have a very, very special video today where we're going to pit Linux against Windows for gaming, just to see if there really is a performance difference between them. But first, I do have something special. Well, many special things, actually. First things first, I picked this up. This is a Power Macintosh G3. I know almost nothing about it, other than apparently the plastic on the inside is mostly broken. This is not the subject of today's video, although I kind of wish it was. It has a 266 megahertz CPU, looks like 32 megs of RAM, and it would have had a 4 gig hard drive. This is from right around, I want to say 1997, and I don't know anything about these machines. I don't even know if I have the right adapters to use them. If anybody does know anything about these, leave a comment down below. I will read them, and I will need your help with this. Next, we're going to try another P.O. Box unboxing. And this time, hopefully I don't have everything off camera. So this is the only one I've opened, but I haven't really looked through it. I saw the graphics cards and then said, you know what? We should do this on camera. Looks like I've got some adapters too. That is super awesome, thank you. An SLI bridge. I know who this came from. It's got a little dent there, but it's probably fine. Now it looks like we have a GTS 450. A GTS 450, a GTS 450. How did this happen? You know what? I know what they did here. There was a motherboard component behind this, probably a heatsink, and they needed it to fit. I've done that before. Nice. And a GTX 560 Ti. I was going to say this looks like an EVGA card, but the sticker's missing. Not a big deal. These are awesome cards. I really love them, even though I absolutely despise mini HDMI. But this isn't the only box we got. That was from Glenn, by the way. Thank you very, very much, Glenn. I will be putting those to good use, and we absolutely will be trying a GTS 450 pair in SLI. That would be super, super awesome. Now this I have not opened yet. Looks like it's from Mike. What do we have? Well, it's well packaged, whatever it is. Oh, this is, I got a note here. Hi Matt, I thought I'd pass something along to you for the channel. Maybe get some fun content out of it. Looks like he just bought a GTX 1050 Ti. And he got whatever this is inside the box. Oh good, he got a refund, that's good. Ooh, he cleaned it. It is, survey says, a GTX 470. Hey! Hold on. This is actually huge. Because, let me double check. You know what I'm thinking? I think we're going to SLI these as well, just to see. Oh, that is super, super cool. Okay. Yeah. Nice. The other card back. And you know something? That still isn't the only couple of boxes we got. We got this one from a Brian. This is a crazy day already. I wasn't planning on filming today, but my goodness. Don't want to dox anybody. It's the cooler clip broke. That looks like it's off of a motherboard. Older for sure. Pre-socket 478, I'm gonna guess. I'm gonna guess socket 370 or socket 462. We have a note. Oh, it is socket 462. It's a printout of the RetroWeb. I love these guys. This website has everything you would need for the motherboard. Hopefully you can get some or all of these parts working. Oh, it's not just a motherboard. Okay. Hey! It's got the I/O shield. That's awesome. I see an Athlon. And a nice cooler too. This is clean. We'll have to get this off there, but that's not hard. A Volcano 5. I have one of the original Volcanos. These are good coolers. Another one. Brian, you are awesome. Let's reveal. This is a workstation board. I think that's it. Set this off to the side. Hey! Whoa, okay. I wasn't expecting that. That is a dual socket 462 motherboard. Most of the capacitors look to be in, well, there's a few bulging ones. This one's been crushed. This one's bulging. Hey, this is cool though. I've never had a, no wonder there were two coolers. I have never had a dual socket 462 system before. This is awesome. And these are very, very interesting sticks of RAM. I have a couple similar sticks. These are double stacked DIMMs. So the memory chips are actually stacked on top of other memory chips. Looks like 1 gig. That's going to be DDR, ECC most likely. If I can get that back in. This is extremely cool. Brian, thank you. We will be making a video on this probably soon. This is awesome. But this still isn't everything that was shipped to me today. I've had to move the camera back a bit just to try and get everything in here. Let me make sure I'm not going to accidentally dox somebody. Looks like this is from a Mr. Theodore. Let's see what we've got in here. Oop, don't want to reveal that. What have we got? Survey says it's well packaged. Very well packaged. Extremely well packaged. We've got a note. That looks like a Ryzen CPU cooler. My name is Ted. I'm 73 years old and watch a lot of YouTube videos. I am not a contributor, just a subscriber. I would like to contribute these PC parts. It's AMD 5600G, no video card needed. All I ask, just put it to good use, and I'm sure you will. Enjoy! Ted, thank you very much. This will be put to extremely good use. That is awesome. Thank you very much. Now let's have a look at it. Ted knows how to package, that is for sure. I have no doubt that everything in here has arrived safely. Looks like we have a hard drive sled from Fractal. I think that I have a case this will fit in. ROG Strix, it's a B450 motherboard. Looks like we got some stuff here. A couple of sticks of RAM. 8 gigs, 2x4, that is okay. There's quite a few sticks in there. Is that DDR3? It is. That is super useful. I don't have a lot of good DDR3. We also have a card here. I'm real interested in this. I really hope I'm getting this all on camera. Oh! This looks like a NVMe riser. That is super cool. Not to be confused with a standard SATA M.2 riser. The SATA M.2 ones actually have a chip, a little controller card on it. This is just straight NVMe. I don't own any NVMe drives, but this still will come in handy in the near future as I'm hoping to acquire one. Thank you very much. Ted is very generous. We also have a SATA cable. Always good to have spares of those. This is a USB riser card. I actually do need these more often than I may show on video. These are very nice to have. Very, very nice, especially in older cases that don't have front panel USB. This is really cool. Thank you, Ted. We have another hard drive sled. Something's packaged in the sled. Looks like a couple SSDs. Oh, 500 gig 850 EVO, 1 terabyte 860 EVO. These are awesome. My goodness. Ted, thank you. You are super, super generous. I cannot thank you enough. We're gonna get that out of there real quick. We're gonna set these to the side. And here is the motherboard. This looks like a full ATX motherboard. We're gonna take it out here where it's... I dropped something. Oh, what's this? Oh, this is, this I think is the TPM header. Okay. That's what, this is a TPM module, I think. Likely TPM 2.0, which means this would be Windows 11 compatible. Yes, it goes here. Well, we can get that on later. This is really nice. Thank you, Ted. Awesome. You're really generous. Everyone's been really generous so far. This is just... I cannot thank you enough. This will go to extremely good use. And I will show it on the channel at some point in the future. Looks like it has the standoffs for the M.2 drives, which is super awesome. Those are kind of hard to come by. And this still isn't the only box we got today. Moving on. You guys are too generous. Seriously, thank you. Somebody sent us this. Yas Legends Incorporated. I don't... Let's see here. Is this batteries? Oh, it is. Oh, that is super useful. I deal with so many computers that have dead CMOS batteries. This is huge. Oh, gotta get that over here so it doesn't get lost. This is huge. No note, but thank you. This is incredibly useful. My goodness. You know just what I need. And this still isn't everything we got today. Whew. This is yeah, this was from Adam Bauman, which is interesting. I actually have some family members named Bauman. We're not related, are we? So, I think I know what this is. I'm going to open it here and then move the box so you can see what's in here. If I'm using blunt scissors. Where's that knife? Here it is. Oh, I know you can't see, but that'll only be shortly. It'll only be moments before I get this opened. I cannot believe how generous everybody has been. A lot of this stuff I cannot get on my own. I just don't have the funding. Okay, this has packing peanuts in it. I'm not a huge fan of packing peanuts, but that probably does mean that it has arrived here safely. So I'm going to cut the camera, deal with this, and put it all on the table. Whew, that was a lot of packing peanuts. But in that box, we had a desktop form factor, HP, and an ASUS motherboard that looks, or at least if I recall correctly, has some issues. What's that? What is that? I thought I was just getting a motherboard. We've got 2 more SSDs. 256 gigabytes and 240. That's technically the same size. Oop. I'm bad at this whole unboxing thing. I'm not used to this. That's awesome. These are going to make excellent boot drives. In fact, we might just use these, or at least one of these, in this video. That is awesome. We have as well, I'm not going to drop them this time. What is that? That is some sort of M.2 adapter. I know that's M.2. I do not know what form factor that is. If you know what that is, go ahead and tell me in the comments. And this is an M.2 drive. Looks like that's an NVMe. That's a 1 terabyte Western Digital Black NVMe SSD. You know, we just got a riser for that. What? You guys are amazing. I cannot thank you enough. Wow. Here's the subject of the potential catastrophe. We're going to remove this once I figure out where the opening is. Okay. So, looks like we've got a TPM header here, probably. Almost assuredly. ASMB8. That's got to be TPM. Doesn't really say much. Oh, that's the KVM chip. Never mind. So that's part of the, well, it's basically ILO. So this is a server board. Super awesome. I don't get to deal with a lot of modern server boards. The server boards I get are usually really old. Thank you, Tim. But I see a couple of bent pins in here. I'm going to try and fix those. Some dust as well. Nothing too bad. We will try to get this working. Oh, it's got a little power switch here. Nice and clicky. I like that. Okay. I'm going to close this up before I break it. I don't remember. I'll have to go back to our messages. I don't remember what socket this is. I probably have some Xeons for this. I'm pretty sure I do. Thank you. We will try to get this fixed. And you know, if we fix this, we'll send it back. We'll make it a reverse giveaway. I'm giving you what you gave me. And now the HP, which is more of my bread and butter. Let's see what we've got. I really sincerely hope that... Oh, come on. Am I... This should just slide off. Looks like the panel's been tweaked a little bit. You know what? Give me a second. There we go. Okay. This is more of what... Oh! A little dusty. So, I am very familiar with this type of HP. I have a whole bunch of similar ones in the standard tower form factor. I don't have many in the desktop form factor. And I don't think... Oh no, there's packing peanuts that have made their way inside. Packing peanuts, the bane of my existence. I mean, I don't see anything wrong with it. I don't remember if he said that there was anything wrong with this. It might be working perfectly fine. This is going to be probably a DC something. Let's see if it's labeled anywhere. It's not going to be on the side panel. Yeah, we'll have to clean that or something. Usually it's on the top here. DC 5750 small form factor. Okay, I actually have a DC 5750 tower. These are super awesome. I love them. Looks like this one originally had Vista, then had Windows 7 Home Premium Refurb, then Windows 7 Pro. What a wild ride this machine has had. Wow. More packing peanuts. Get out of here. I love these machines, especially these AMD ones. HP was nice enough to include DVI. Oh, that's going to be how the packing peanuts got in there. Now, there should be a clamp here to hold these in. Without that clamp, no card is truly fixed in place, but that's not a big deal. I certainly don't care. Worst case scenario, I can just drill a hole if I have to. But you know, I think this is going to make a good video. Yeah. And that, my friends, that actually is the end of our unboxing. I cannot thank you all enough. This is so much. Here, I'll move this out of the way. We'll put this back on the table. The generosity of my audience absolutely boggles my mind. I cannot thank you all enough. I don't know what to say. I've received more things today that I could never have afforded on my own. My goodness, thank you. This has made my day. This has made my month. So, wow. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to move on. You know what? I'm gonna leave this all like this. My wife is off playing. It's not Dungeons and Dragons. It's some other tabletop. I think it's a Star Wars game, but she's off playing with some friends, and I'm gonna leave this all here for when she gets back, so she can find it, and then immediately go, "What the hell?" So, oh, this is amazing. Everyone who has sent me something, thank you so much. And everyone who's simply watching, thank you too. This is crazy. You guys are the best. Anyway, it's time to move on. We've got to get this video done. You know what? I think that this is a good candidate for our Linux video. It's got a 5600G. Yeah. Let's use this. Let me find a case. Let me find some RAM. It appears that I don't need to find any storage. So, I can't get over that. You guys are so generous. Yeah. I'll be back. On to the real subject of this video. Now, some of you might be wondering, why? Why bother with Linux versus Windows? And the truth is, for the longest time, I didn't really care. For me, Linux was for servers, Windows was for desktops, and Apple was for people who had more money than sense. But as Microsoft grows more and more and more hostile to their own user base, I start to wonder if maybe It's time for a change. I've been thinking about it for years. But Linux has never quite been there. Where is my screwdriver? It just hasn't been ready to serve as my main gaming PC. I needed more functionality, something that could play games for one, and that was just never really Linux's strong suit. Games were made for Windows, and sure, you could use Wine, but it wasn't perfect, to say the least. However, a couple years ago, the Steam Deck was released. Now, the Steam Deck runs Linux. And of course, Valve came up with Proton, which is absolutely amazing. It's a compatibility layer, similar to, but not the same as Wine. As far as I'm aware, it translates DirectX calls into Vulkan. Could be wrong. Correct me in the comments below if I am. And, by the way, this motherboard's actually going to one of my viewers. This is a pretty awesome Pentium 4 motherboard. PGA 478, of course. So we are limited to 32 bits. But with the release of the Steam Deck, and especially Proton, things have gotten quite different. The landscape has changed significantly since then. See if I can get this out of here. Oh, I missed a screw. And now, Windows games, for the most part, do work under Linux. And I read a recent article which made some rather surprising claims. They say, unsubstantiated as of this moment, but they say some Windows games perform better under Linux than under Windows. Color me impressed, if not skeptical. So today, in a slightly less than scientific way, we're going to be testing that directly. I don't have a huge knowledge of Linux, although I have used it for years, in servers, of course. So I don't know what to expect. Is it ready? Can I finally get out from under Microsoft's thumb? I really hope so. So let's see. Let's get rid of this one. I need my pliers for that. Take that out. Move it up here. The system we're using today has a Ryzen 5 5600G. It's a pretty good little CPU, all things considered. It's actually better than mine, so when we're done here, this is going to become my PC. I think this is a better motherboard than I've got too. Ted, you are a legend, and I also want to specify to everyone out there, you do not have to send me stuff. I genuinely appreciate it. It is extremely useful, extremely helpful, and it makes me feel pretty good that people are willing to help support the channel that way. But please, do not feel like you have to do stuff like this. So, as I get this tightened down, we do also have some DDR4 that we can put in here, thanks to recent events. We've got some relatively unknown sticks of RAM. These are 8 gigs each. I've got tape on them. What? Why do these have... Oh, the previous owner probably covered up the RGB. Honestly, I'm probably going to do the same thing if it's going to be my permanent machine, but for now, let's see. Looks like dual channel's going to have us like this. Get this tape off as well. Watch, it turns out they just don't run without the tape. Get in there. Okay. So we've got 16 gigabytes of DDR4. What we're going to do is we're going to use these donation SSDs. 256 gigs will be our boot drive, and we'll have a 1 terabyte game drive. We're going to install Windows first, get all of our games installed. Then I will overwrite Windows with Bazite. Why Bazite? Well, supposedly it's optimized for games. At some point in the future, I'm going to compare that to Ubuntu, because of course this will be more than just a gaming machine. It needs to do other things as well. It needs to do regular computer tasks. But for now, we're just going to compare gaming performance, and I will do my best to give accurate numbers and take accurate measurements. I'm still figuring that out, but I'm sure we'll come up with something. I know which graphics card I want to use, but first I need a power supply that can power it. And naturally, I made the mistake of using my best power supply in this PC here. This is my video editing PC. We're going to take that out, which should actually alleviate some of this spaghetti mess anyway. Okay, that wasn't super easy. And naturally, I actually do need a power supply in here. Yeah, I still need to edit this video. So we're going to go ahead and slap this in here. It's an EVGA 500 watt, which in theory should be more than enough. In theory. Cable management in here is not the greatest, but it'll have to do. If I can get it to not rub the fan, that would be great. There we go. Good. Yeah, that'll do. This is not the final case that this system is going to exist in, so I'm not super concerned about cable management at the moment. Just functioning is something I'd be happy with. So, stretched across it is. Now the reason we want this spaghetti mess is because I'd like to use this. This is a Radeon, I think it's a 5700, RX 5700, non-XT. So I believe this is 8 gigs of VRAM. This is a pretty decent card. And if it works, which we actually haven't tested it yet, but if it works, this would provide us with quite the performance boost over the onboard graphics. With that said, the onboard graphics of this particular CPU, not too bad. Genuinely. Oh no, I've got to remove 16x slot's a little lower, so I need to remove a different standoff here. Not standoff. Can't think of the word right now. You know what I mean. Okay, so that's in. Okay. Now we just need some power out of this squid. Jeez. It's a lot of cables. So we need an 8-pin and a 6-pin. 1, 2, and this, technically speaking, once I get the... Oh, I forgot to plug in the save cables. No, I still got room. Okay. We're just about ready to install Windows. In theory, everything should be good to go now. And I hope nobody minds, but I'm going to install Windows off-screen. If you're watching this video, you probably knows what it looks like to install Windows 10. So, with that said, as long as this card functions, I will see you on the desktop. You know, I almost forgot this. Now we should be good to go. Okay. Well, it's been about 45 minutes or so. As you can see, we've had a couple of problems. And we're gonna try again real quick. This thing would not post at all if the TPM header was installed. So there might be an issue with this. I'm not sure. I've been doing some RAM swapping. We'll see. Question is, will it work now? Well, it was working. What did I do wrong this time? Wait a minute. One of these two sticks is bad. Okay, well, we've still got 16 gigs. They're just not fancy blinking blue sticks like these. My friends did warn me that, the friends that gave me these, one of them might have been bad, and I think we've confirmed that. So, now to see if that card works, because I've been disassembling this whole thing just trying to figure out what was going on. We have life. This doesn't necessarily mean the card works, but at least we have a display out now. I don't know if this TPM2 thing is actually bad or if it was just the RAM or what, but yeah. Now we can install Windows. Okay. I accidentally let it reboot, and this is a perfect opportunity to tell you something very, very important. If you're sending me anything that can store data, whether that's a hard drive, a thumb drive, an SSD, anything, wipe it first. I'm not going to do anything with whoever's data is already on here. I'm going to wipe this and start from scratch. But you, my YouTube audience, don't know that for sure. Do not trust me just because I'm on your computer screen. So I'm going to wipe this. We're going to start from scratch. But don't do this. Make absolutely sure to wipe your drives if you're going to send them to me. That is of the utmost importance for my safety and for yours, because if I were to be a bad actor, I could snoop through and probably find some pretty, well, depending on what's on your hard drive, I might be able to find some stuff like a cached password data folder from Chrome or something, or worse. So I cannot stress this enough. Wipe your drives before you send them, not just to me, but to anybody. Okay, pep talk over. On to Windows. Oh no, they both have data on them. Oh no. No. We're not dealing with that today. This isn't a perfect solution. I prefer Derek's boot and nuke, but this will function for our purposes. Once I format them under Windows, we should be at least reasonably safe from accidentally finding somebody's data. Anyway, finally, we're going to try and get to the desktop. As long as everything works, the next time you'll see me is after all the games and drivers have been installed and we're ready to run games. Didn't think this would take so long, but here we are. I'm here to throw this thing out. Look at this. Wonder if this works. For the first time ever, we are about to be able to benchmark in 1080p. That is a huge step up for this channel, and not just because we finally have a PC that can actually handle 1080p, but because of this, which I found in the trash. And even though there is something horrifically wrong inside it, it works. And this is a 1080p monitor, which I can't get power plugged into with one hand. There we go. Look at that. Somebody just threw this out. So, as you can see, we have the desktop. We have a whole bunch of games installed. So we're usually, I only test 3, maybe 4 games. We're going for a lot more than that on this because I want to get a real good idea of Linux versus Windows. Now, to be fair, I know at least one of these games has a hard limit at 60 frames per second. Because apparently we're still stuck in the 90s and the tie physics to frame rate. You know, thank you, Dark Souls. But I suppose let's begin. We know that all of these games will run. We're just interested in the data so we can compare it to Linux. The first game that we tried was Battletech. We managed to hit an average of 85.5 frames per second on high settings. The maximum was 121.6, and unfortunately there was quite a bit of a dip here, a hitch, if you will, right there. And that dropped our 1% lows to 6. Unfortunately, that's not something we can blame on any one thing in particular, as, honestly, that's just kind of how Battletech works. It's a little bit of a stuttery mess. So, let's move on. Next was Deep Rock Galactic. We had a maximum of 121 FPS, an average of 102, and a 0.1% low of 84.6. Now, unfortunately, we did not realize this yet, but our game was bugged. Even though we had set it to unlimited FPS, it was still limited to 120. After many, many tries, I could not get this fixed. We kind of knew that we would get a high frame rate in Dirt 3 even on high settings. The average was 250 frames per second with a minimum of 204. The maximum we hit was 342 frames per second, and our 1% lows were 199.3. This game performs really well, but it is kind of all over the place. We have almost 150 frames per second of fluctuation, and this does cause some screen tearing. So this is one of the few times where I'd say, hey, you might want VSync. Moving on. Next, we have MechWarrior 5. I know we're running on high settings on this, but I'm a little surprised that we didn't get higher. Although our average was 57.4, and our maximum was 92.6, our minimum dipped well into the 30s at 32.4. Luckily, our 1% lows were 30.6, so not much stuttering for this. Still, I would have expected better from this. Let's move on. So here we have Risk of Rain 2. This is another game that absolutely cranks out the frames. Our minimum was 106.5, average frame rate was 189.1, and the maximum we hit was 296.9. Even our 1% lows is well into the triple digits at 107.4. Even with very close to 200 frames per second of variance, even with nearly 200 frames per second of variance, we did not see much screen tearing here. I'm impressed. Let's move on to another game. Next we have Nightmare Cart. Now this game's locked to 30 frames per second. We're not really looking to see what the performance is, we just want to see if it runs under Linux. I love this game, it's pretty cool. Started off its life as Bloodborne Cart. Can you tell? Anyway, let's move on. Next we have Monster Hunter World. I was thinking about trying Monster Hunter Rise as it is much faster to get into the gameplay, but World is a harder game to run, so we're trying this one. Luckily, even at high settings, our average was 85.3, our minimum frame rate was 63.8, and our maximum was 100.4. Even the 1% lows stayed at a respectable 65.3. All in all, very good experience. Next we have Dark Souls 3. This is one of those games that is locked to 60 frames per second. Why did they do this, you say? Well, they tied their physics to the frame rate, because of course they did. Anyway, our average frame rate, as you can guess, was 60. Our maximum was also 60, and our minimum was also 60. Our 1% lows were 57.6. All in all, pretty good experience. Either way, let's move on to the last game that we're testing today. Helldivers 2 was not quite as happy with this setup. We are not on high, we are on a mixture of medium and high, and our average still did not hit 60. Our average frame rate was 54.9, our maximum just 68.1, and our minimum frame rate was 28.9. Worse yet, our 1% low was 2.2. Another thing that I didn't mention was the input latency. This was really hard to play. But, alas, that's just kind of Helldivers 2. If we lowered the settings, we wouldn't have as many issues, but again, we're trying to really test this to make sure that it runs well on Windows and Linux. So, what next? Well, next we install Bazite. just to see how it is. Now, so far it's looking like a pretty standard Fedora install. I've seen this installer so many times during system administration, usually of CentOS 7 machines, but that's neither here nor there. Let's go ahead and get it installed with a standard desktop environment, get Steam running, and I will see you on the desktop. Very small note here. Apparently, Bazite comes with Steam pre-installed, so all I have to do is get the Mango HUD to benchmark the games, and that's it. The games are already installed to the other SSD, so hey, that makes my job easier. I won't complain about that. Awesome. Nope, they thought of that too. It's already installed. It's a turnkey experience. I've never had a turnkey experience with Linux. This is great. I guess let's benchmark some games. First, we're going to begin with BattleTech again. And before we dive too far into the benchmarks, I would like to remind everybody that we are running underneath a compatibility layer. So technically speaking, these games actually have to do more work than under Windows. And even with that, we're technically seeing a performance uplift with BattleTech compared to Windows. The average frame rate is about the same at 84.7 compared with 85.5 under Windows, but the 1% lows, well, 6.8 frames per second under Windows, but under Linux we saw 44.9, and as I played it, I did notice it was significantly less stuttery. The maximum frame rate of 121.6 under Windows also bumped up to 124.2 under Linux. However, that isn't a huge increase and could be simply due to run-to-run variance. So, with this impressive start already in hand, let's see what the next game can do. Now, Dirt 3 is another one of those games that kind of saw a performance uplift, but realistically it's more of the same and could be considered run-to-run variance. The average frame rate was 274.4 compared to 251.3 under Windows. The 1% lows, almost indistinguishable. It was 205.2 compared to 199.3 under Windows. And our maximum frame rates were 337.9 compared to 342 for Windows. Technically, we had a higher average frame rate, but a lower maximum. I think I'll give the win on this one to Linux. Next game. Next, we have Deep Rock Galactic. Now, under Windows, we encountered a bug where we could not break past 120 frames per second, even though we had it unlocked in the menu. Under Linux, we were able to surpass that. We reached an average of 216.1. Our maximum was 382.5 frames per second, and our 1% lows were 62.5. Unfortunately, that 1% low is quite a bit lower than under Windows, which saw 84.6 as our 1% low. But, again, that could be due to run-to-run variance, but we do still have to consider the fact that Windows was bugged to begin with, and Linux, somehow, was not. Moving on to MechWarrior 5. On Windows, we were pretty disappointed with the frame rates, and under Linux, we have a measurable increase in performance, which is pretty impressive. Under Windows, our average frame rate was 57.4. Under Linux, it was 66.1. Our 1% lows under Windows was 30.6. Under Linux, 43.1. And our maximum on Windows was 92.6 compared to 106.7 under Linux. This is quite an impressive uptick. I mean, you know, that brought us above the 60 FPS mark. I'll take it. Now we have Risk of Rain 2, where we see our first performance downturn. Under Windows, we were able to reach an average of 189.1 frames per second. Unfortunately, under Linux, we were only able to achieve 170.8. Our 1% lows under Windows were 107.4. Under Linux, a comparatively small 67.6. And the maximum frame rate we reached under Linux was 225.5, compared to Windows, which reached 296.9. Windows definitely earns the win here. And here we have Nightmare Cart. Not much to say. It works. Perfect. Unfortunately, Monster Hunter World is another net loss. Our average FPS was 65.5. Now this is compared to 85.3 under Windows. Our 1% lows reached 51.3, and this was again compared to 65.3 under Windows, and our maximum frame rate only reached 85.5 compared to 100.4 under Windows. Let's move on. Dark Souls 3 performed about the exact same as Windows. This is partially due to the fact that it is capped to 60 frames per second. So our average was 60, our max was 60, and our 1% lows were 56.1, which is technically lower than Windows, which was 56.6, but that's a pretty negligible amount. Good game, runs well, not much else to say. Helldivers 2 ended up being a little bit of a toss-up. The average frame rate was completely identical between Windows and Linux at 54.9 frames per second. However, our maximum frame rate was lower under Linux. It reached 62.5 compared to 68.1 under Windows. On the other hand, our 1% lows were higher under Linux, 48.1 compared to 40.9. This did result in a much smoother experience under Linux overall, even if our maximum performance was slightly lower. Well, there you have it. Honestly, I am delightfully surprised at how well these games ran. I mean, all of them ran. None of these are Linux games. They don't have native Linux versions. Every single one of these was the Windows version of the game, running under a compatibility mode, and sometimes getting better frame rates than the Windows version. That's crazy. I am quite pleased with this. If you're wondering why the PC is on its side with its panel off, well, you can check my Patreon, where there will be a slightly longer version of this video, where I go over some troubleshooting steps because we had some bad hardware. It just decided to die after we did all the Windows testing. Additionally, I do want to say, do not take these numbers for gospel. Several of these games are not exactly scientifically tested, and we had some trouble with Deep Rock Galactic, where on Windows, it was limited to 120 frames per second. It would not go higher than that. So, there's also the fact that the various Battletech games tend to randomize the enemies. It's not a guaranteed experience each time. It's not guaranteed what the enemies will do. So we will have some variance in the frame rates between each game, despite the fact that the actual mission is the same. So, with all that said, I think I might be moving to Linux. This has been a pretty flawless experience. Once we got over the dead hardware, of course. So if you'd like to see that longer video, feel free to check out my Patreon. The link is in the description. If you'd like to send hardware to this channel, various things for us to test out, the address is also in the description. If you like what we're doing, well, there is a like button as well, and let me know how you would have done it differently. Not going to pretend I'm an expert at this. So, I really hope that this was entertaining to watch. Thanks to that dead hardware and some other unknown issues, mostly, for some reason I had trouble with Bayesite uh, working with a Steam library on a separate drive. The first game that I'd open would run just fine, but then it wouldn't open any other games. That, I think, is a problem unique to this setup. Most people that I've talked to can get that to work flawlessly with no issues. We just have a really weird PC. There was some dead hardware in the mix. It was just a bad time. But anyway, I've been at this since noon. It is now 9:15 p.m. I'm getting some pizza. We're good. We're done. We're done. Goodbye.